everybody. This is the 8th and best episode of the Hashcast, and I have a very special guest tonight. It's my new best friend, Joey Noelle.
Hello.
How are you doing, Joey?
Good. Thanks for having me on this. This is so fun.
That is. I'm so glad you said yes to my invite. It's amazing.
Of course.
So, for both of my listeners, and maybe they don't know who you are. Who are you? What do you do, Joey?
So I'm Joey. I work for Kind of Funny and / Kind of Funny Games, depending on what realm of life you know us from. We're like a YouTube podcast live streaming channel, mostly podcasts and all that kind of stuff. We have 2 daily shows that are on Twitch, and then we do like Let's Plays and all that fun stuff that we post to YouTube every week as well.
Cool. And what do you do for these guys?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. My title right now is community manager, but we've been changing that up a little bit. So I do a lot of our production management and coordinating. I run all of our merch. I run a lot of our social media stuff. When you're in a company that's 7 people, you kind of have to wear a lot of different hats.
all of the hats, yeah.
Yeah, so there's not really a great, all-encompassing title, so I just stick with community manager because it's the easiest one.
That's pretty good. I was talking to my wife in the cars, and I was like, I have Joey Noelle. She's a community manager for Kind of Funny. And she has no idea because she doesn't follow the industry at all. And she was like, what is a community manager? I was like, that's also a good question.
It is a great question. I feel like everybody does it a little bit differently. I know a lot of community managers that are in work for developers and publishers and stuff like that. And when we talk about issues that we have, within our jobs, I'm like, oh man, you guys do something totally different than I do. So it's funny to see how people with the same title can do so many different things. The main reason that they brought me on was they just needed someone to have eyes on all of our different platforms. So I make a point of being in our Twitch chat for our shows every day, being in our Facebook group and our Reddit comments, and we have a forum and there's Discord. And so being on Twitter, looking at mentions and making sure that there's kind of eyes on everything so that if there's issues that pop up or things like that, in our Patreon, stuff like that, that they know that there's someone that's looking at those and can bring them up and can communicate both directions. I can tell the guys hey, these are some things that we might need to fix or work on. And I can tell the community hey, I know you've noticed these things. We're working on this, or this is the answer to this question. Just so there's a little bit more streamlined communication.
Well, that's cool because I have a Twitter account that I manage myself because I'm that big. I have to do it myself. But I'm a huge stats geek. So I always look at what's the impressions, what's the engagement. What is the level of engagement that you get on an account Kind of Funny, which is huge?
It's a lot. It's hard for us to figure out engagement just because the ad, it's for us, it's not necessarily a numbers game of oh, we want to hit X, Y, and Z. It's making sure that the core audience that we have is happy, which is almost harder because there's not really a metric for figuring that out. It's not as easy as yes or no. So it's a lot to try and manage in general of figuring out, because also the different communities that we have don't necessarily want the same thing. So just because one group of people really likes one product doesn't mean that other groups are necessarily going to have the same way.
No, it's my dream goal to get to a point where I can tweet out video games are awesome and get 1,000 retweets.
All those controversial stances.
Oh yes, super controversial. Speaking of controversial, we met at the whole evening kind of controversial because the more I get to know you, the more I'm wondering how we could possibly be friends. but we'll get into that because we met at PAX for the first time. We were probably aware of each other before that. But the one thing I cannot stop thinking about what happened at PAX is what happened to Angry Pirate Guy from the...
Angry Pirate Guy from the panel. Who knows what happened to him?
Did he come back the next day? Because I think he won the round and then he...
Yeah.
What happened on day 2? Because I missed that.
So at the panel, we had this Angry Pirate... I think he was an enforcer, right?
Well, he pretended to be an enforcer.
Maybe he was an off-duty enforcer.
Yeah, nobody's really sure.
Yeah, he's full of mystery. And so he won an opportunity to play a game with Greg at the Skybound stage. And so I had a panel at that point. So I didn't even go to that panel, but Greg said that he was there and they played and it was really fun. And then Pirate Man disappeared off into the Boston night.
Wow. Yeah, I saw him on the escalators riding in the opposite direction. I'm like, oh man, that's Angry Pirate Guy. But speaking of panels, I have to tell you, Johnny, the panel you were on, like working through self-doubt and imposter syndrome, that was my absolute favorite panel. That I watched on PAX. Like, that was absolutely fantastic. Helped me a lot on things that I struggle with as like a small-time content creator. But that was fantastic. And I think Take This just put it up as a sound file.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. So if you wanna look at it and share it.
It's a great panel.
Yeah. No, that was
not
great.
like tooting my own horn, but like I remember being up on that thing like, I need to remember to take notes on all of these things because everybody else that was on there had great advice. It's like, I never thought about that. But yeah, that was a really fun experience. I'm super grateful that Dr. B pulled me in for that one. Yeah. The whole time we were talking about it before, I was like, are you sure? Because like I was like planning on attending, being in the audience for that panel, and he was like, I think that's the point. Yeah. I was like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, it was like amazing to hear from all of the fellow panelists on. It's on one hand, it's kind of nice, like, oh, this is something that we all struggle with, and it's not like everybody else that I'm surrounded by is like feels like they have it together and knows what's going on. It's like, oh, we're all trying to figure this out at the same time, which is kind of nice. And I like that everyone's so open to helping each other, like figure out how to manage that independently.
Yeah, because you to me appeared out of nowhere. Like I'm not sure what you did before. So was this your first time when you were like on panels?
Yeah, so this is my first time that I was at PAX East. Okay. I'd gone to South earlier this year as like a tack on to a trip that I was going to Austin for. Yeah. And then this was the first panel I had been on. I had been on like our panel at RTX last year. Yeah. Because that's where they announced that I was going to be full time. But other than that, this was like my first set of like cons essentially. I'd gone to like PSX in years past, but we hadn't had like Greg had done stuff, but we as a company necessarily hadn't had a presence. And PSX is kind of a different beast anyway. It's way more like brand oriented than content creator oriented. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So where did you come from? Like what is your story? This is my first job in the video game media industry, whatever we call this weird amalgamation of things that we do. Before that, I was working in higher education in accounting, and my degree is in cultural anthropology. So none of this relates to anything. I thought I was going to be living abroad, developing like community initiatives for developing countries, which clearly has not happened. No. And as I was in college, I had friends that were going to school for art for video games. They were studying environment art, I believe, at the time. And so they had been listening to Beyond and IGN stuff like since high school. Yeah. And then when the boys started to do non-gaming content, they were like, hey, a couple of my friends were like, hey, you should listen to this. I think you'll like it. Yeah. So I started watching Greg's Oreo oration videos. That was like the first thing I ever watched. And I was like, this is so dumb. This is the guy that's reading Oreo. And then like I watched like 5 of them. I was like, okay, you got me. Like I'm in. So then I started watching all their other stuff. And that was like shortly before they like rebranded as Kind of Funny. Yeah. And then like a few months later, they left IGN and became independent. Yeah. And at that point, I was just like a casual, like I would watch and that's about it. Like I didn't really do anything else. And then slowly started to jump into like the Twitch chat to like, cause that's always super intimidating. It's like going super fast. There's a million people and you're like, I don't know what this is. Yeah. So slowly started talking to people in there. And then I went to the first Kind of Funny Live, which would have been May of 2015. And that was the first time I'd ever done anything like that in the games world. Like I'd never gone to conventions or anything like that before. So I went there and even that was like a little like overwhelming because like people were like, oh my gosh, like let's go. There's a group of people that are going to meet for a picnic over here. And there's a group of people that are going to get lunch over here. And I was there with like a few of my friends. I ran into like friends from college that were there. And I was like, I don't think I can do that yet. So we just like kind of did our own thing.
Yeah.
And then after that, like I met a few people there, like that I recognized from like Twitter and stuff like that, because I had started following people back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's like when I really jumped into like the Facebook group and the forums and doing all of that kind of stuff. Very shortly after that, I like applied to be a mod for the forums. And so I started working with that team, and then I became like an admin for the Facebook group. And then like a little bit after that, I started modding the Twitch channel and stuff like that. So kind of started to do all of that stuff. By the time it got around to Kind of Funny Live 2, I was helping like plan big community events. So instead of having like a bunch of little groups do a bunch of stuff, it would just be like, hey, we're going to try and get as many people in one area as possible. So started doing that. And then that summer is when Kind of Funny reached out and was like, hey, we want to talk to you about potentially taking on a little bit more responsibility. So then we had like a couple conversations, and then it was 2017 that they announced they were bringing me on.
That is such a cool story, though.
Yeah, and like, then it's super weird because then Kind of Funny Live 3, it's like, oh, I'm on stage for it. Like, that's a crazy progression when I look at it at that level.
Is it the banner picture you have on your Twitter profile?
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty cool. It's so funny how that can happen. Because it's not like you start with like a smaller outlet. Like, you went like straight for the top.
I never thought that would happen. Like, once I figured out that I wanted to do community management, which was like usually right around, I think, like Kind of Funny Live 2. That's when I was like, oh, that's a thing that I can do. I had no idea that existed. It was always like my plan to work for other companies and get some more like experience. And then by the time I had like a lot more practical experience, like maybe Kind of Funny would be in a place to be able to hire someone for that. And then that didn't happen. And I somehow managed to skip all those steps. Which was a little crazy. But, that was never in my game plan to go straight here. No. It was always like a few steps ahead of the plan. But it's amazing, and I can't imagine working with any other group of people. Like, it's so fun to come to work every day, which is definitely not something I experienced before. No. So, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I saw that, and I was like, wow. That is just like landing the jackpot right there out of Twitch chat, right? Because my path, like it's not completely the same, but I also started Twitch chat for game traders, which is now Easy Allies, where I was just pretending to be their mascot cat, and then it kind of took a life on its own. But instead of like doing their community work, I felt like I've always been riding their brand too much, so I did my own thing. But it's funny how it takes a little, but it can do so much by just being involved in a community like that. So what do you think is next for you? Like, are you gonna take the desk?
I don't know. So what I like about Kind of Funny is that because there's 7 of us, like everything is always different, and you get a lot of different opportunities. So I like being able to like pop on for shows and do it kind of like on a like random basis. I don't know that I ever want to like host something full time necessarily. I don't think that's really my jam. I don't necessarily think that's my strength. I like kind of doing the back end stuff. But
you're kind of famous already. I mean, you were on several panels. We were on a panel together, sort of.
Yes.
The What's Good Games.
On the What's Good Games panel.
Yeah. Do you get recognized already? Like when you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that happens.
It happens. I was even like it was a couple of weeks ago, I was walking from my house to my car. And I was like walking past the salon, and this girl came out and she's like, "Are you Joey?" And I was like, "Yes." That was like the weirdest one for sure. Of like, oh, random, somebody in my neighborhood knows who I am. But I don't know. Like, I feel like I like that people know who I am. Like, I feel like I have it on a good level of where it's not like overwhelming. I still feel like I have a good chunk of like privacy and being anonymous, but I like being able to like pop on to shows and people know who I am. I think
that's pretty cool.
It's like a good balance.
Yeah, because I saw you were a guest on What's Good Games once as well, and it was also delightful because you're just a delightful person.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you do great on shows. I've only had it once, and it was right after PAX on the airport, like after PAX, and I heard someone tell me, I think that's the Hashtagonist. But I wasn't sure if I heard it right because I'm clearly not used to that, so I kind of was like, oh, whatever. Maybe they said like antagonist.
Well, it's also hard with you because your Twitter profile picture is like a avatar.
Yeah,
it's not a picture of you, so it's like that's when it's hard of like, oh, is that you? Is it not you?
Yeah. But then I heard him talking about PAX. I was like, okay, I must have heard it right. So I was like, yeah, I know, right? 4 days is a long time. And he was like, oh, you're a Hashtagonist. I was like, yeah, that's right. But they saw the What's Good Games fans because they were huge What's Good Games fans. I was like, okay, so that's weird. But some people have this like all the time.
Yeah. Like just always getting stopped.
Yeah, that's just nuts. Like that's why I have a cartoon avatar, to keep the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah, so you can have a little bit of anonymity.
Yeah, please keep on light. But it's good. I think that's such a fascinating story, nobody can repeat that, right? It's just you had to have that one stroke of, well, not luck. Like he clearly did a good job, and he got noticed by the right people. But that's so. But
cool. It's such like a not perfect storm. That's not what I mean to say, but like you had to have all the right pieces fall into place at the right time.
Yeah.
Which is something that's definitely hard to do. Because like, I knew that I wanted to be a community manager, and like the end goal was always kind of funny. And I was always like, man, I wish things were happening like sooner or faster or in this different way. But then if I look back now, I'm like, if that would have happened, then I might not have gotten this opportunity or this thing wouldn't have happened. And it's like, no, everything happened like exactly the way it was supposed to.
How weird is it that if you follow these guys for a while as like a fan, sort of, and then you're working in the same office, like, how does that feel? Like, do you get used to that, or like, was the first week like super weird?
So I had the benefit of starting out as like a part-time like remote employee.
Okay.
So I was living in Orange County, still working my full-time job at the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was like a good way to ease me into it.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, like I have access to talk to you guys when I need you, but I'm not just like in the office around you guys all the time.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like a good way to ease it in. But I do remember when I was here for, what was it? I think they invited me to come up for the like kind of funny Christmas party.
Yeah.
Before they had officially announced me.
Okay.
But they were like, hey, like, I don't know if you're going to be in town, but like you should totally absolutely come to this. We'd love to have you. And so I came up for it. And I remember there was one moment at that dinner, I'm like thinking around, I'm like, this is the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
Of like, and at that point, like the guys and I were friends, and like we kind of crossed over that like fan relationship, but still like internally I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. But yeah, I feel like not being in the office right away helped. And then like by the time, and then I would like come up and visit because like all my family is pretty local to the Bay Area. So I would come up for like a long weekend or like a week or whatever and come into the office and work here for a few days. And so by the time I started working in the office full time, I felt like a lot of that kind of was already gone and had rubbed off. And it was like, oh no, these are the guys.
Yeah. Because you got to play it cool, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can't just like fangirl out necessarily. No. But yeah.
That's pretty much my entire first E3 experience, where I've been like interacting with all these people on Twitter, and they kind of know who I was, but then I was meeting them for the first time. And so these are people I followed for years, and I'm like at their work, and now we're hanging out. Like last year, I was sharing a cap with Brendan Jones of ECL. So like, this is insane.
Yeah, if you could tell yourself years ago that you'd be sharing a cap with Brandon Jones, never would have believed yourself.
So that's so much fun. It's just too bad that now that I get to know you, that you're such a terrible person, because all your like we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And I think that's like a whole segment worth it, because I don't know how this came up, but like boneless chicken wings.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, I know how it came up because of the chicken bring your own.
Probably because of the PAX panel, yeah. I don't know. That's just like one of those weird things of like, I don't like eating meat off of bones. No. Like, I don't like ribs or anything like that. And so I remember when they announced that I had joined the team that night, Greg and I went to Wing Wings, which is like the wing spot in San Francisco. And I was like, oh, this is the awkward part where I tell you I don't actually like chicken wings. And he was like, dang it, never mind, cancel everything. You're done. But yeah, like, I don't like, I think I've also just kind of broken it down to, I don't really like eating food necessarily with my hands. Like, I don't like how it's all messy. But I like buffalo sauce. Like, I like all the components of chicken wings without the actual bone part.
Okay, fair enough. Like, I this year I made like a commitment that I wasn't going to get into any food wars on Twitter anymore. But it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. You're staunchly bone-in?
I know. Well, it's not wings, Joey. It's just chicken. Is it even the same meat? It can't be. They're not taking the bone out. It's just a different piece of the chicken.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's still chicken.
What they call bonus wings. That's just false advertising.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have an argument for that necessarily, but I still like them.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to get more in the camp of let people like what they like.
Yeah.
Because, like, I saw, the fun argument to have on Twitter apparently is like the pineapple on pizza thing. And I was like, first I was like, oh yeah, that is worth arguing over. But the more I looked at it, I was like, like, I know you don't like it. But, maybe we can still get along. Even though it's delicious on a pizza.
Yeah. That's the funny part of, like, because I got wrapped into that of, like, Joey doesn't like pineapple on pizza is, like, a thing to the point where, like, during Extra Life, people, like, donate so that I have to eat pineapple on pizza, which is, like, so mean.
That is mean. And I thought that was the greatest community.
I know. Yeah. Sometimes I second guess myself. But it's all for charity. It's for the kids. So fine, only pineapple pizza for charity. Yeah. But it's funny because it happened as, like, an argument between, like, a group of friends, like, on Twitter. And then it's funny to see how that, like, spreads out, and then there's people that I don't know that like comment about it now, and I'm like, how do you know this? I'm like, oh yeah, Twitter's like a public forum that everybody can see.
Twitter, like it's worthless for.
I know, but it's so fun.
But it's so entertaining. I know. How much time a day do you spend on it? Like, you're there professionally, but how do you? Yeah. Do you still enjoy like being there for yourself?
Yeah, it's something that I've had to figure out how to like have work-life balance because so much of what I do now I did for fun. Yeah. So it's like a natural thing of like, oh, if I'm like on Twitter doing stuff like this, like in the Facebook group, like at home at night, I'm like, oh, that's normal. But I'm like, but I also did this all day and I should probably do something else that's not work-related at night. Yeah. So I still enjoy Twitter. There's sometimes like, I don't always, like, if I get work-related, like, DMs and stuff like that on the weekends, I try not to answer them and, like, just not do that. Just to have some sort of break.
What does a work-related DM look like for you? Like, from one of the team or just from the community?
No. Okay. If it's stuff that's internal from the team, we're usually, like, for that kind of stuff, I feel like I'm always on call. Yeah. If it's, I mean, I won't pull up names, but I'll just, like, look to see what I have now. There's like questions about like kind of funny prom that are coming up that people have. People want to set up meetups in their areas. People have questions about like shows that are going on and stuff like that. It's like that stuff I usually just try and not answer on the weekends. Yeah.
Because it must be hard to have the concept of weekend when you're like an online digital outlet where that's always there, right? Because not everybody watches you live. Like they might be watching the show on the weekend. That must be tough to not do that all the time. Because I have trouble disconnecting, and that's just my personal account, right?
Yeah, for sure. I still didn't figure that out really well of like how to balance that even during the week at night of like, okay, what's the cutoff for what I respond to, what I don't respond to, what's work, what's personal, like how do you balance all of that? Yeah. So I feel like I've actually played more games since I started working at Kind of Funny just for the basis of it's something that like requires my full attention and keeps my hands busy at the same time. Because like if it's TV or something like that, then like I can watch it and be on my phone, but like if I'm playing a game, like I have to pay attention to the story and like I have to actually play it, so I can't have my computer or my phone like on the side necessarily.
I've become like a good... Even when I'm playing games, I'm like, okay, cutscene, and then I like gravitate towards a damn phone in my hands. Drives my wife nuts. She's upset it too. But it's.
I know, it's hard to figure out a balance for it.
I know. We'll get there eventually. But I put out a Twitter thing just before we recorded to see like what else could we not agree on. And I think there's a list of big items that we just have to go through to see if this relationship of ours can
we have
continue
any
at all.
commonality.
Yeah. So a big one is always chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal raisin.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't really like chocolate, which is controversial in and of itself.
Yeah.
I always because I'll have like a chocolate chip cookie every once in a while, but I always wish that there was like less chocolate chips in it. So normally, if there are two that are sitting on the counter, I'm gonna pick the oatmeal raisin.
Okay, so that's points because I like it. Oatmeal raisin better too. Okay, we're gonna get so much hate over this. Oh my goodness.
I know people really don't like oatmeal raisin cookies, and they feel like betrayed because they think that they're oatmeal chocolate chip cookies and they're oatmeal raisin.
Yeah,
like people, we gotta have something.
I understand that people get mad when you think you're having a chocolate chip cookie and it's oatmeal raisin, but if you have a choice, it's delicious. They're
so good. They're
soft,
like cinnamony and
It's people just don't know what's good for them. So I am a big defender of Batman vs Superman.
Oh man, you too.
How do you feel about Batman vs Superman, Joey?
I'm not. So I love Batman. Batman's been like my superhero for my like entire life. Like there's a picture of me as a kid dressed up as Poison Ivy in front of Batman for like Halloween when I was like 8. Because I've been like ride or die Batman for a very long time.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman was very excited for. I bought tickets to see like not the midnight showing, but like the 7 o'clock showing because I'm like too old to stay up till midnight to watch movies. I went by myself because none of my other friends could go or wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I wore like my Batman leggings and I was like so excited and I was like waiting. And like as soon as we got to the point in Batman v Superman where like he gets like brought up from like the well thing with all the bats and all of that. I was like, oh no.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
This is not the movie I thought it was going to be. Yeah. There are things that I can appreciate about Batman v Superman. And like the whole time leading up to the movie, I was not a big fan of the idea of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne in Batman. I was like, no, this is not going to be good. Halfway through the movie, I was like, man, I wish this was just a Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah. I think Ben Affleck is the best Batman. One of my favorite Batmans, not just because he's the actor, but the way Batman is in Batman v Superman, that's my favorite Batman. Like the old, good, like,
little gritty,
fed up with everything Batman, like shotgun Batman. That's my favorite Batman. But you apparently you think Batman and Robin is a good movie.
I don't necessarily think it's a good movie. I just unapologetically love Batman and Robin. I think part of it is like rose-colored glasses that was like one of my favorite ones growing up, and it was Poison Ivy, and she's my favorite. And it's still the only time that she's ever been in a mainline Batman movie.
Yeah. That's Uma Thurman, right?
Yeah. And it had Batgirl with Alicia Silverstone, and she was so fun.
Yeah.
I like that it was like a little bit campy, and it was like it didn't take itself too seriously. Which like I love the Nolan movies, but those are very like serious Batman.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, like we were secretly talking about this earlier, of course, but like back in that day when those Batman movies were made, we didn't take it so seriously. Like, or maybe it was just a lack of like being plugged into the internet all the time. But I don't remember people being upset about Batman and Robin. Like, it was just you either liked it or not. And
it wasn't like a fighting point necessarily. And like, I don't know, at the time, like I was a kid and all of my friends thought it was fun. And like, I don't know, it wasn't like a huge, like, you ruined my childhood kind of moment.
No, I was not mad that my Adam West Batman was ruined by...
Yeah, exactly.
What was it, Val Kilmer or George Clooney in the fourth? I don't remember.
George Clooney was in Batman and Robin.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Michael Keaton was maybe before.
Yeah,
it was
the
like
first
the first
two.
Resurgence, Yeah,
and then we had Val Kilmer for one movie. And then, George Clooney. I always forget about George Clooney.
I know. I think a lot of people do. He only had that one shot at it. Yeah. And I wish they would have done a little bit more, but
that was fun. Like, superhero movies are like such a thing now that if it's not like 100% up to expectation, it's like shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss the old days where you could just have a campy movie.
Like a one-off, kind of whatever. Which
Yeah.
I guess, like, to a degree, Marvel's even kind of doing with, like, Ragnarok is, like, super, like, fun and doesn't really lead the story anywhere, but they had fun with it, and it doesn't always have to be, like, serious Thor. No. Like, he has a fun side.
Yeah. That movie would have blown everybody away in the time that, like, Batman and Robin was being made.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Like, I'm not sure if it's just special effects or just, like, how much we have advanced. But that's what like, people say, like, oh, Batman vs. Superman is the worst movie ever. I was like, no, you have no idea how bad movies used to be. Like, especially superhero movies, they were the worst. Like,
they're not good. Have you seen all the Hulk movies? Not great.
I forgot about the Hulk movies.
Yeah. Good and I like Eric Bana, and I wish that, like, he would have had another shot at it.
Yeah, but it was like, oh man, that movie, I almost forgot. Everybody forgot about that movie.
Yeah. It's not topping anybody's favorite superhero movie list, I'm sure. But
so well, I guess the kind of, like, Batman v Superman. So you're the Batman girl. I'm also a Batman guy. Like, I don't like Superman. I heard Greg talk about Superman the other day, and I was like, maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention.
Yeah.
I think he's just...
I don't find him particularly interesting in that sense.
No.
The only Superman, like, storyline I've liked was Smallville.
Yeah.
Which was, like, the TV show, and, like, you get a lot more character development over, like, 7 or 8 seasons. I think it even went on for longer than that.
Yeah.
Than you do in, like, the span of a movie kind of a thing. So, and they're going for different angles of Superman as well, so it's not always the same.
I did like that there was this show, and we were probably super late in Europe where I grew up, Lois and Clark, I think was
oh, yeah.
Like, that was a good show. That was a Superman I could enjoy. But it's pretty much, that was kind of my only exposure I've had to
that wasn't one that I really watched, but I knew that it was, like, I remember it being on, but at that point I was like, Superman.
Yeah. All right, so okay, we're making some grounds here. We're making some grounds.
We're getting closer to
the gold path. People also ask, like, have you played the Persona games at all?
So, big fan of Persona 5. That was my first foray into the series.
Yeah.
Because I took, like, a really long break from gaming between, like, in high school to, like, post-college.
Yeah.
To where I didn't have any of, like, the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, and then I hopped back into PS4, but only, like, a year or two after it launched.
Yeah.
And I didn't play, like, a ton of PS1 or PS2 games either.
No.
So I hopped on. I started to play Persona 5. People had, like, recommended, like, oh, I think you'll like it. I think you like it. It's like, I don't think I really like JRPGs. I don't think I really like turn-based combat. Yeah. Turns out, very wrong about both of those things. Yeah. I like both of them very much. I played through Persona 5 earlier. Like, I started, I think, around Thanksgiving or Christmas. Yeah. And then I finished it, like, in February or March. Because it's a long game. It's, like, it's 100 hours of, like, story.
Yeah. So I didn't like Persona 5. I played like 70 hours of Persona 5, and I was like, okay, I am not even halfway through. This is ridiculous. Like, I was just so fed up with it, and I was like, ugh, I can't.
What palace did you get to?
I made it to I think I finished the pyramid.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty far in, but I was like...
But that's still like half.
Yeah, I know. I was like...
Like, you were still missing a party member at that point.
There's another one?
Mm-hmm.
I thought Futaba was the last one. Oh, no. I've met the other girl. What's her name?
Haru?
Haru, yeah. So I think I was just getting into her storyline. But at that point, I just did not care anymore because I was hitting so many roadblocks. Like, okay, you can't progress this relationship line because you don't have enough charm. I was like, really? I got to eat like 55 more burgers before I can take this girl. So I was just fed up with it. But have you played Persona 4?
So I just started Persona 4. I found a Vita.
Yeah.
Found a copy of Persona 4 to borrow from someone. So I'm only like 5 in-game days into that. So I'm still super, super green. Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens. Did you play Persona 4?
Persona 4, for some reason, is one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like Persona 5 just isn't my kind of game. It's just, like, it's too much.
Yeah.
I played Persona 4 back-to-back 3 playthroughs.
Oh my god!
I clocked 180 hours, which is like almost like 3 2/3 of Persona 5, I guess.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You're gonna love Persona 4.
I'm excited.
Are you play? You must be playing Golden then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played on the Vita, and maybe I played that game like just at the right time because my wife was on mat leave. We just had her daughter, so I took the bus to work so she would have the car, and I played it like for 108 hours. And have you met Nanako yet?
She's the little girl.
She's a little girl.
Yeah, who likes to sing the Juness song.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
It's funny because Greg has like a little figurine of her on his desk, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
Oh, yeah.
And then I walked in the other day, I was like, oh, that's who that is.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
It's always fun when you get into a franchise that everybody already played, and then all of a sudden you get all the clues. And all the memes and all the things. I'm like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, and it's fun because everyone was like kind of surprised that I started with 5. They're like, oh, you should go back and play 4 first. I'm like, no, I'm committed now to 5. Yeah. I'm not gonna play 2 Persona games at the same time.
No, that would be worse.
But it's nice to like have, and even with Persona 5, I started playing it at least 6 months after it came out. So there was always like people that I had to talk to about it, which is something that I think is fun. Of like, oh, have you gotten to this part yet, or this and this, and I did this differently, and like this is my best girl and stuff like that. So that's one of my favorite parts.
So who's your favorite character in 5?
In 5, so my favorite character I think is Futaba. I think she's the only character throughout the whole game that like made me laugh out loud with some of her lines. But she's not necessarily like my best girl because I'm like I think she's way too like little sister. For the protagonist.
They clearly went with that, I think.
Yeah. But like as like I don't know. I also really like the goth doctor girl.
Yeah.
I thought she was fun. Plus, like she had really great perks if you like upped your confidant level with her.
I clearly like the one scene that Mikado has. And like her persona reveal, like that is one of my favorite scenes.
She for sure has the coolest persona.
Yeah, because that is just amazing. But I maybe I should give it another shot. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I bumped it down to easy for like the last third of it, just because I wanted to get through it, and I didn't necessarily. Yeah. Like once I understood the like mechanics of the palaces, I'm like, I understand what I'm supposed to do, and I get it, but like, I don't want to have to battle the same like end boss like a million times. Like I just want to get through the story.
I'm not sure if I put it down on easy or the one just before that, because there's one where you can go back. There, like the super.
Yeah, that's like the.
Yeah, maybe
that one I never tried that. But like I know half the people that I've talked to about Persona 5, I think for like the last third or the last half just played it on that because they're like, okay, there's a lot of games to play. I gotta just finish this.
Maybe I'll do that. I would also recommend it on Persona 4, to be honest, because you have to play that game like 2 or 3 times to get like all the things you want to see. It doesn't matter. Like just press one button, defeat everything.
Yeah. But no one usually plays Persona 5 for like the battle
the challenging combat. Or
no. Like, no, you want to get to the story.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's good. That's good. So Persona 5, maybe the path goes a little, we're wavering a little bit, but it's good. It's a good game. Yeah. I recognize it's a good game. Maybe I'm just not in the right mindset to play like a 100,000 hour game. But then I played like 200 hours of Dragon's Dogma right after, so I'm sure.
I know. It's like, whenever I say, like, oh, I don't have enough time to play games, it's like, well, why are you playing Stardew Valley for, like, the 15th time?
Oh, my goodness. Stardew Valley. Okay, so here's the common ground.
I love Stardew Valley. Yeah. It was one of the first games when I got back into gaming that, like, totally sucked me in. Yeah. Have you played any of the multiplayer stuff at all?
Is it out?
So it's out in beta for PC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I have not.
So it's fun. It gets a little. I mean, it's Stardew Valley, so it's all like the same stuff. There's not like I haven't found a ton of the new content for it. Yeah. But I also haven't played like that many hours.
How much is not that many? Oh, in multiplayer.
In multiplayer, okay. I think I've played like maybe 10 or 15, maybe.
Yeah. Who are you playing with? Like just randos on the internet?
So yeah, I started a couple different multiplayer farms. Yeah. I was playing with one of our like Discord mods for his, I think it was his birthday stream that we were playing. Okay. And then I was playing with 2 of my Extra Life captains. Yeah. We were doing like an Extra Life stream, so I played with them. So that's really, but I think it's also hard because not a lot of people play on PC.
Yeah.
I feel like I know way more people that are playing on Switch or on PS4. So I think once it gets rolled out to those platforms, there'll be way more people to play with.
I bought it on Switch. Yeah. Oh my god, I shouldn't. Like, I haven't played it yet, but I also bought it on Switch.
Oh yeah, I immediately started a new farm on that.
Yeah.
Now they had announced it's coming to Vita, which not that I ever
but
really need to do that.
It's cross-buy, so if you bought it for the PS4, then you can get it for free on Vita.
Yeah. So now when I travel, because I feel like Persona 4, I'll be playing for a while. That'll be like my second side game, because I still need to finish like God of War and stuff too. So it's like, if I travel with my Vita now, I can play both games.
Yeah,
this is great.
Yeah, no, Stardew Valley it ruined almost everything. Well, not really, but my wife doesn't play a lot of video games, but we played it together when my kid was very small, and we had 2 different farms. We both put 100 hours in like a month and a half.
Dang,
it was
crazy.
Like, we were like, okay, you can play for 2 in-game days, and then we switch, and then you can play. Like, it was nuts. And then you play with the kid, and then we'll play. And we had like a double setup where we had, I have my room, my office, and then we have the playroom. We put both TVs in one room so I could play one. It was ridiculous. It was
so funny.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. There's something about the loop for that game that works for me. Yeah. Though I still have never been able to figure out the fishing mechanic. Really not good at the fishing.
So you just need a better fishing rod. I think that's the key.
Okay.
Because it's like super hard in the beginning. And then when you get some new rods, it kind of gets better. I think there's still one fish I did not catch, like one of the legendary fish. But fuck that fishing game, man. That's just a terrible fishing game.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I don't love about Stardew. But that's what's nice about multiplayer is that I've had friends give me the fish so I can finally finish the community center. Because in all of my playthroughs, I've never finished the community center because I'm so bad at fishing.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone the Joja Mart route ever?
I haven't done that one yet either.
Okay.
That one seems like a sellout because the whole beginning of the story is about you not wanting to do that anymore.
I know. It is a huge sellout. It is fun to try it once because you can do it in a season and a half, I think.
Dang.
Yeah, because it's all cash, and once you get good at it, you'll make $100,000 before fall. Blueberries, maybe. But you have to sell out. You have to be heartless.
I've got a couple saves, various kinds of stuff going on. So maybe I'll transform one of those into a Joja Mart save.
It might be worth it. Just you gotta see it, right? It's probably a trophy or whatever. Are you
right? Exactly.
Yeah, are you a trophy hunter too?
Not really. Because I looked at the trophies for Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
And the one that was keeping me away from trying to platinum it was the video game, the Prairie, whatever.
Oh god, yeah, I tried
Queen.
That. Yeah.
I'm like, nope, that's never gonna happen.
No.
And then I looked at the trophy list for Persona 5 and I was like, this doesn't seem it's not necessarily hard as much as it's just a time sink.
Yeah.
So that's still in the back of my mind of I might try and do it, but I don't normally care about trophies that much. And I'd only really ever want to platinum something that I really, really care about.
Yeah.
And even then it's I don't know. Yeah. It depends on my day if I'm feeling super competitive or not.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine the platinum Persona 5, dear Lord. It's that's years of your life that you just have.
I can't imagine how many hours that takes. I think it's 2.5 playthroughs.
That's so much.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the second playthrough is going to be a lot faster because you don't have to do a lot of.
You can skip all the cutscenes.
Yeah, skip the cutscenes, and you keep your stats, right? So you can take everybody on the dates so maybe that's. I wish there was a mode in Persona 5 where I can start the game maxed out, so I don't have to waste time eating berries, drinking tea just to.
Yeah. Cooking all the coffee and curry and all that stuff.
Oh well, we'll see.
I know.
Maybe I'll go back to it. You might convince me.
Yeah, I would try in the words of What's Good Games, the BBS baby mode, to see if that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because I think that should make it.
Yeah.
If you don't really care about the combat stuff.
Yeah, I think I have a perfect gap in my gaming right now because I just finished God of War. And I don't have anything next yet.
Yeah. Are you going to play Detroit?
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm
I
not.
don't think I'm really going to play with that either.
I saw the demo. I was like, yeah, this is not my kind of game.
Yeah.
What's the other the previous one? Beyond Two Souls.
Two Souls. Yeah.
I played that. It was alright.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know that I'm not excited for it.
Yeah.
It's like I was. The closer we get to it, I feel like the less that I care.
Yeah. The game looks gorgeous. Like these games always look fantastic. Like I think they're like shifting the bar on like what facial animations and character models look like. But I just know the story's gonna get like super weird. I'm like, yeah, well, I've been 20 hours in, I might as well finish it kind of game.
Yeah. For sure.
It depends. And like if I would get a code, I would play it for sure, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure if I would drop a cold like here in Canada, like $80 on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
I think the next one that's like on my radar that like I'm very excited for is Spider-Man.
Yes. That is September, right?
I don't even remember.
I think so.
When it is.
I think I've seen enough Spider-Man now, though. Like, I just want to play the game. So I'm not sure how the whole deep dive at E3 is going to go. We got to talk about E3 a little bit. Like, it's in like 3 weeks now? 4 weeks?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Something like that.
And you're going, are you working E3 or are you just being able to walk the floor a little bit?
We'll do a little bit of both. I'm actually going down like way earlier than the boys. Because I have I coincidentally have concert tickets for the Friday before E3.
What's
so I'm going. It's Macklemore and Kesha.
Okay.
Which is not necessarily like totally my jam, but like my best friend got them for her birthday, and she was like, "You should come with me." And I was like, "Okay." So yeah, going down early for that. So like, I'll actually have a chance to go to a couple of the conferences if I want to.
That's cool.
Which will be interesting. So I still haven't decided if I'm going to do it or not.
Have you been to a conference ever before?
No, because I didn't. So I went to E3 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just got in because I really liked Lego Dimensions when it came out.
Yeah.
That was like the only Toys to Life game that I'd ever really played. And they had tweeted out that they had some like extra passes for E3 if anybody local wanted them. At the time I was in Southern California, so snagged one of those. But like it didn't come with conference.
If you go to one conference, Joey, go to Bethesda Land.
That's what everyone says, but I can't. I have to like get invited. I can't just show up.
There's some people might know at Bethesda, like
the only ones that I'm registered or that I think I'm going to right now are Xbox and UB.
Okay, Ubisoft's also pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So who do you think is gonna have the best show?
The best show. I mean, I am like PlayStation biased.
Yeah, fair enough.
In that I hope they have a good show. I'll be interested to see how they balance some titles of like. I'm interested to see like what kind of updates we get on The Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding, just to see like are they 2019 games? Because that seems really fast.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what they do with Days Gone, because that seems like that should have come out already.
Yeah.
And that up against The Last of Us 2, if you have two sort of like...
Can't have them both on the same show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit weird. So I'll be interested to see what they do with those titles. Yeah. I think Xbox is in a weird position of like... They're kind of,
make it or break
they don't have a ton, of like, last year was all about, was last year all about
was
Xbox
hardware
One
last year?
Or was that? I feel like it was all hardware based last year.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what do you have in development right now to like push people towards your platform?
Yeah.
Or do you? So I think that'll be interesting. I think the thing that I'm most excited about, honestly, is Nintendo. To see what kind of things that they're going to announce and like, coming off of like the Smash announcement of like, are you going to announce characters that are coming and all of that kind of stuff. I've been really impressed with like a lot of their Switch stuff because like after watching their Switch reveal stream, I was like, oh man, this is not going to be great. And I didn't pre-order it, and then I totally regretted it.
Oh yeah? I only bought a Switch like 2 weeks ago.
Ooh.
And I same like when I saw it, I was like, oof, I don't think I'm in the market for this.
Yeah.
But I've only been playing Celeste. Have you played Celeste?
I haven't. It's not really my kind of game. It's like
I can
so hard, and
it is pretty hard. Yeah, but it's It is a great game. Like if you can get if that clicks for you, it's fantastic. But you know what? I must say I kind of like the Switch so far. But they better keep it coming because I bought a Wii U, so.
Oh, feeling a little bit burned on that level.
A little bit, yeah. So I hope they don't fall into that gap again. So Nintendo is going to be your bet. It's going to.
I don't necessarily know that they're going to win, but I think that they have like. People are so excited about the Switch that I think that they have the opportunity to come in big. I don't know if they're going to have any Pokemon announcements, but like that could be a big deal.
That's been heavily rumored. I think that there's a Pokemon game coming.
Well, yeah, they have to have like a Pokemon game at some point, so hopefully that'll be it.
Maybe.
I'm excited that they're going to have Captain Toad Treasure Tracker come out later this summer.
Is that going to be your just a port, or is it like?
It's just a port.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm excited about because I never got to play the whole thing because I didn't have a Wii U.
Me neither.
So, I think, I don't necessarily know that they're going to win, but I think that they're the one that I'm the most anticipated.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Well, it's hard to compete with a Smash and like maybe a Metroid game. Because they already teased that, of course. But I think I'll put my money on Ubisoft because last year they killed it. Like they had a lot of promise. But we haven't seen a lot of the games from last year yet, so if it's going to be a rehash, then it could fall flat real quick.
Yeah.
Because with Far Cry 5 is out, the pirate game that they're making, I haven't heard from it since.
Yeah.
Beyond Good and
Evil 2. Skull and Bones? Is that what it was called?
Bones,
yeah.
The Crew 2, I think they announced last year. I haven't seen it, so if they're just going to do updates, it could be tricky. So we'll see, but I hope they do well. Also, a very nice press conference, But absolutely, go, get your pull some strings, Joey. Like get yourself to Bethesda. Like it's amazing. Like they have the food is great and the party is fantastic, and then the show is the show. Yeah. Like you've seen the press conference that doesn't add much being there in the crowd, other than the oohs and ahs that you get from the people, but just the whole atmosphere. Like last year they had a Ferris wheel.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah, it's just nuts. But and I'm missing all of this year. I'm missing all of this.
Oh, I know. So sad.
Yeah, well, maybe next time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There's always next year.
There's always next. Well, hopefully there's another year for E3 because you never know. When Microsoft is doing their own thing this year, EA already started doing their own thing.
Yeah.
God,
everyone's kind of.
If this is the last E3, I'm going to be so mad that I missed it.
I have a feeling that people are going to need at least another year or two before they pull out completely. But.
They'll be fine. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It might change a little bit, but that's good. Let's see. I think we've met enough common ground. I think we can still stay friends.
Okay, good.
So I'm very happy with that.
It's touch and go there for a while.
Yeah, I know. Like maybe we're going to end up frenemies, but I think we're good.
Okay, good.
Unless they're like, let's the one thing you want to throw at me for the last minute. But
so
no.
Do you hate LaCroix? That's the only other thing.
No, I'm more like a Diet Pepsi kind of guy.
Oh, are you a Pepsi over Coke person?
Okay. So here's the thing. When I lived at home in the Netherlands, where I moved from, I was Coke Zero, like all Coke Zero. And then I moved here to Canada, and it tasted different. And I was like, And I think, so here's my theory, that the Pepsi here is better than the Coke, but in Europe, the Coke might be better than I don't know, and maybe I'm just getting old.
Oh, that's interesting. But I definitely think that I like Mexican Coke better than I like American Coke.
Yeah.
But I don't remember, I don't know that I've had it in Europe, necessarily.
I think it might be a thing. Because, like, where I'm from, that's where Heineken is from. I did not like that in Holland at all. When I come here, I didn't drink beer until I moved to Canada. Like, I'm in Canada right now. And here, it's doable. I'm not sure if it's just age or that I'm, getting used to it. Or maybe the water is nice. I have no idea. But
interesting.
It is different. Maybe it's, just how people drink tomato juice or ginger ale in the plane, and it tastes different than here.
For sure.
Maybe it's just a Canada thing. I don't know. I've never had like
the altitude
LaCroix.
changes it.
I know.
Yeah.
Because you just told me they call it LaCroix, and it's just so weird. Like, all my French-Canadian friends would be like, no, they don't.
I know. It doesn't make any sense if you've ever taken any French class.
No.
But...
So, have you ever taken any French classes?
Yeah, I took French all through high school.
Yeah.
So I saw this and I was like, oh, it's definitely La Croix.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, no.
Yeah, and Noelle is also Christmas. And you're born, your birthday's in Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's funny because my name, like, is not very far off of Merry Christmas. No. But, like, my parents had no idea that.
Oh, no. I thought maybe that's, like, your stage name.
They had no idea that it meant Merry Christmas. And, like, my parents don't call me Joey. That's mostly, like, anybody that I went to school with.
Fair enough.
Called me Joey, or, like, anybody I know from the internet. And, like, my family, for the most part, calls me Joanna.
Yeah.
So they think it's even more removed from them because it's not a nickname that they're necessarily used to.
That makes sense. That's so funny. That's so funny.
I was like, I was just, like, naturally brilliant, and I came up with this for you. I was like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, that's some good trivia right there. But that's awesome. So I always end my podcast with a segment that I call Podcast and Shill, where you can, like, either promote or, like, shill for anything. Like, in your case, maybe Bethesda, so they invite you to the show. What do you want to, like, promote? What do you put in the spotlight?
I'll promote all of, like, my social media stuff. I'm at Joey Noelle on pretty much everything. All the important ones, at least. Yeah. Twitter and Instagram. If you want to come take a look at some of the stuff that I do, you can go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames for our daily morning shows. Even if I'm not co-hosting those, I feel like more often than not, I, like, pop on with some sort of opinion. Yeah. Yeah, now that we have, like, the side off-camera mic, I feel like there's way more discussion or debate, usually, depending on what the topic of the day is.
Yeah, I'm really starting to enjoy Kind of Funny Games Daily.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten a good rotation of hosts going on now. Yeah. It's always great to have Andrea in and Jared and Gary, and, like, we even got some new faces in last week, which was fun. Yeah. Some of, like, the IGN crew and stuff, and the GameSpot crew.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see you at that desk. Just, like, take over the show.
There was, I think it was last week, just because we had people out of town. Tim came up to me and was like, so I need to take a phone call, like, towards the end of Games Daily, so I'm going to need you to, like, tag in and sit with, I think it was Jared at the time and stuff. And I, like, looked at him and because it's always, like, a running joke that, like, I can fill in on any show except for probably Games Daily. And I was like, oh, are you sure you don't want to ask Kevin? And he was like, you're right. And I was like, not that I don't, like, it's an honor that you think that I can fill in for Games Daily, but don't necessarily know that I'm the right person for that. Unless they need me for breaking Persona news or breaking Stardew Valley news, then I'm your girl.
Well, so you never know. Maybe when the multiplayer goes live, then we're going to need you on the show.
There we go. There we go.
But that's a good shill. That's good. It's always good to shill for yourself. I usually don't shill for myself because people are already listening. So they kind of know where to find me. So I'm going to shill for my friend Steven Spawn, who worked with Xbox to create a new controller to make gaming more accessible for everybody. And
which is so cool.
Fantastic device, yeah. And I know how much time and effort he must have put into this, and not being able to talk about it. And I think that is legit a game changer. Like, hats off to Xbox for investing in this technology, because that is just fantastic. So shout out to him. It's like the third time I show for him.
It's a good, if you're going to shout out somebody multiple times, Steven Spawn and Able Gamers is a pretty great choice.
Pretty good choice. So, and if you do want to find me, because nowadays on the podcast, I don't even know where this goes out to anymore, because you subscribe for one service. You can find me at the Hashtagonist on Twitter, and also at patreon.com/thehashtagonist. And if you want to, if you like this kind of shows, this is kind of what I try to do. And my guests are always cooler than me, Joey. So I thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no,
it's always fun to get to talk about stuff. I'm glad we were able to stay friends.
Yeah, it's just like my shows are just shooting the shit with my friends online and then putting it online. It's the easiest show to do, really, because everybody I meet is fantastic, including yourself. So. Well, I hope I see you again soon.
Hopefully. We'll have to figure out.
Might be a while, but otherwise we'll chat on the Twitters and the Facebooks.
Of course, I love it.
we'll keep in touch. Well, thanks so much.
Perfect.
And if you're still listening to the show, thank you for tuning in. And this was the Hashtagonist with Joey Noelle from Kind of Funny Games. Or Fitz. I always mess that up.
We're different things on different platforms, so it doesn't really matter.
It's all good. And we'll be back next week with some new guests that I haven't lined up yet. We'll talk soon. Thank you. Have a good night, and talk soon.